Hello, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Erwin, I have no idea if this is the final Mission Impossible or not.
Why? It literally says final.
The final reckoning, but it also said originally Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2. And I love just how often in this one they say, this will be your final reckoning. They say it like 4 times and you're like, this is it. This is it right here. But I am very excited to talk about this. Everything we review will always have full spoilers. If you know the Mission Impossible franchise, though, to an extent, you understand what you're getting into with this franchise.
Depending on what movie you watch.
If you're somehow, there are some people that are like, the first one's the best one. I'm not that. For me, they progressively got better up until Fallout, and then I think that Fallout's the best one. And then
I would say Fallout's the best one, too.
Yeah, like I think beginning to end, it has the best. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the stunts in the newer ones are just phenomenal, but it has the best collective sort of energy with the team and with the overall having everybody get something to do.
Yeah.
And just the Halo jump is so incredible. But I love that movie so much. But I love this franchise a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, too. I think what Tom Cruise still has, even after like decades upon decades of acting, is that he's still a movie star. Yeah. And that he can still bring the same type of energy anytime he's in a movie. And I still think that especially in this latest one, he still brings it. Yeah.
There's a choice in this one that I respected, that it's sort of a problem just in terms of narratively speaking, just in terms of the pacing of the movie, but I also liked this at the same time, where there's a lot of clip cutting to the first like 6 movies.
Oh, they do that quite often.
Just a little too much. But one thing I respected about it is I don't know why Tom Cruise chose to do this unless this is the last one. But it didn't really feel like it. This ended almost exactly the same as the rest of them.
I feel like it ended in a way where he's still out there doing the same thing, but this probably is the last movie.
Yeah, unless they're like, hey, we'll see you later. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Unless, it's 10 years and then he's like, I'm 70 and we got to get back out there.
What is he going to do next?
I don't know. I mean, what stunts can you do when you're 70 years old? He's like, I'm going to get out of my retirement home.
Blows it up. Boom.
I'm going to walk down the stairs without my, what are they called? The alert things when you fall.
Oh, the life alerts?
The life alerts. And then you clap at the end. You're like, damn, that was impressive.
Good.
Yeah.
He did it on his own.
It's one of those like behind the scenes things where it's like
he becomes crippled and he just doesn't use a walker or anything.
He does this like 40 times and you're like, we've been at this all day. And then it cuts like the step.
Oh wait, we should probably say if we loved it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to say about this one and the franchise in general. I think this is the first Mission Impossible we're reviewing on this. It is. Because you didn't see Dead Reckoning.
I don't think we were reviewing.
Yeah, we weren't around that time. Yeah. I think the movie's incredible, by the way.
When did it come out? Like 2021 or
2022? It was heavily affected by COVID, and this was originally a part 1, part 2. This does feel like an extension to another movie for me.
I think that's the... Okay, well, we're talking about.
So, before we get into all that, with this movie, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
I loved it.
I loved it a lot. Yeah, hell yeah, man.
It's nice. It's just refreshing to see an action movie especially for how long it is, to be good.
This is 2 hours and 51 minutes.
I did not expect the runtime.
And I knew of it. I do think it's a little long, but I think that's primarily because of the setup of the first act, which I'm going to be honest with you. I want to just, because I don't know if you have the same negatives as I do, though, but everything that I have...
I mean, we can talk about negatives first. And then,
okay. I want to clarify, though. I think this movie's incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
The reason why I want to do negatives first is because literally all of my negatives come from the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I think me too. Just because the way I think is what you just said earlier too, where it just feels an extension from the latest one. Yeah, and I guess I'm just so used to where all the Mission Impossible movies they end. Like there's a story from the beginning and it ends. Yeah, and so then the next one it would just pick up somewhere else with a new mission and everything. And this one it just felt like a continuation of the same mission. Yeah. And so I think what makes it harder too is also the titles.
Oh yeah.
Confusing, and the fact that my other negative was probably the fact that they did so many times where they just kept cutting back and forth.
There's a
to
lot
like
of
other movies.
There's a lot of the. Do you remember Mission Impossible 3? Which is honestly a crazy callback. But
yeah.
I know that some people, they're not like immersed in this franchise. I know they're gonna be like, I don't know what the hell anybody's talking about. But for people that do, you're kind of like, I mean, I know.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, though, you're just like, oh my god. It's crazy how they're going all the way back to these movies to try to connect them all back. How it all connects back to Ethan Hunt.
No, and I mean, don't get me wrong. That has always been that way.
Yeah.
There's a line in, I think it's 5, where Alec Baldwin is like, what does he say? He was like, Ethan Hunt is the manifestation of destiny. And you're like, hell yeah, he is.
It's just funny how they treat Ethan Hunt like some type of like...
He's like God. He's
like, yeah. He's like, if we need someone to save the world, it has to be him.
No, with Angela Bassett in this one, is like, there's only one man that we can trust. And they're like, you let him go? And you're like...
I love Nick Offerman. You're like, I love Nick Offerman.
Oh, yeah, they do that switch out with him where you think he's going to shoot Angela Bassett, and then it's somebody else just completely. I love how often they would cut to the control room people, and they were just like, what's Ethan doing? Where's he at?
We're running out of time, man.
Have you seen
Here's a list of cities to blow up.
Have you seen that Lalo Salamanca thing where he's like, what's he up to? What's he doing?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody quoted that with Ethan Hunt.
Oh, that's funny.
And, I mean, that's genuinely what at the beginning of this one, they're like, turn yourself in, Ethan. And then I think it's very funny. I don't know. I can't get past the fact that like they treat this guy like he's just like the Messiah, but his name is Ethan. I'm sorry, but like,
his name is Ethan.
It's the same thing as Paul in Dune. And... That's like false Messiah though. This guy's like he is Jesus essentially.
I don't know how he survived so many things. Like the way they described his where he went underwater and then decompressing. I'm like that did not make sense to me whatsoever.
Do you mean okay? We'll talk about the actual like mechanics of how that works.
Yeah.
I think I live vicariously through Tom Cruise because every single time he does a stunt, it's always my worst fears. He's either up high or in water.
Dude. That's funny.
And so naturally.
How do you handle roller coasters?
I love roller coasters because I have a seatbelt type thing.
Oh, what if you had a parachute? Would you be fine?
Actually, genuinely, I was thinking about this. I was like, I bet I could actually be fine skydiving if I knew for a fact that I had a parachute.
What if it didn't go out?
Well, then I would die. But then
I would just die. But what if I call Ethan Hunt?
No, then he would be like, I got this.
I got this.
They do like this movie reminded me so much of Dark Knight Rises for some reason, but they're like, and I think it's because
I feel like this movie, or like these movies, especially this one.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Fast 5.
Ah.
Because it's like, it's still serious, but kind of goofy.
I want to clarify.
Almost goofy.
I want to clarify for us, comparing something to Fast and Furious is always a positive.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
But if it's like Fast 5, that's like a serious one.
Yeah, that's the most like serious of that latter half of those.
Yeah.
They had the same sort of trajectory where I know that people think that 3 is underrated now because it's the J.J. Abrams one. And actually, it really is.
Yeah.
But 4 and on, they found their footing. They found like what they want these to be.
Yes.
And so Fast and Furious also did that same thing where they like, I mean, it took a while, but by the 5th one, you're like, oh, like these are this. And, and then it was on like that hot streak of like 5, 6, 7. 8 was good, but that's that like middle portion where those were just a straight like incredible trio of movies. But here, I think that they've been on the roll for a while, and naturally, of course, these movies are also designed to set up the set pieces. And one of the biggest compliments I can give them is the set pieces are always incredible. There's 2 primarily in this one. There's also one where it's just him running. He runs a lot. I mean...
Yeah, he does. Especially when it's like, where'd he go? And he's just running on the roof.
Yeah, because they actually... That's a really hard part of London, I think, to clear, to get access to, I think.
Oh, really?
I think there was a James Bond movie that wasn't even able to. But here they were able to do that. But, I mean, him running is always... I mean, he just runs really fast. I never really quite... grasp the concept of the fact that...
wait. What do you think? James Bond? James Bond. Guys, I'm hungry. James Buns?
Or Ethan Hunt,
or Ethan Hunt,
James. I mean, dude, fuck.
That caught me off guard.
I made like an edit that was like James who, like Ethan, or like Jason who, because Jason Bourne I think is probably that level of where you compare these, because they kind of were around at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
I am so much more of a Ethan Hunt fan than I am a James
Bourne or
Jason Bourne. Jesus Christ, Jason and James. Jason Bourne fan. Like, he's fine. Like, he's whatever. But I love Ethan Hunt. James Bond, though, I don't know. Because, I mean, there's like a billion of them. There's like 5, 6 different James Bonds. I don't know.
Which one would you choose? Are you excited for the next one whoever they choose?
I suppose. I mean, it just depends on who it is. But, like, I mean, you kind of got to see what their vibe is going to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like within the context of this, you know who I'm trying to narrow down my thoughts here, but what did you think of before I ask what you think of the stunts, really want to clarify what our primary negative is here.
Our negatives?
Yeah, and for me, it was just that the first 20 minutes or so, it's establishing a lot of stuff, I mean, that we know, especially you, because you just saw that one recently, and you hadn't seen it because you just had missed it because it was in theaters, because it was coming out of COVID.
It was like in theaters, but then I think it was only in theaters for like a week or two.
Oh, it came out during that weird. They also released it. I know why you missed it.
Yeah.
They released it the same month that they released Oppenheimer and Barbie. So
Dead Reckoning?
Yeah, so that was a crucial mistake because it lost money.
Yeah.
And these movies always make money.
Yeah.
And I think that was a mistake to do that just during that course of time. Because if you end up missing it, I don't blame you, because don't get me wrong, like, there's a lot of star power here, especially, well, Top Gun came after, but it did, right?
It did. Yeah. And then Top Gun made like so much money.
And then that made a ton of money, But
it's crazy how much important timing is when it comes to releasing a movie.
Yeah.
Well, you don't realize that until when you pivot or like put two movies together. Like how they just announced Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, that's right.
And the Dune Messiah is going to be pitted with one another.
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna move. I don't think that's gonna end up happening. But with this here, though, I just think that since they do a lot of this, like previously on Mission Impossible, like it drags the first part of the act down. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like enjoy seeing everything, and I liked a lot of the tie-ins and callback stuff. Yes, these movies were not initially written to have a cohesive overall story. It was like, this is your mission if you choose to accept whatever. Like the guy from 5 and 6, he's in both of those, but these movies, while they connect, it's always like, here's a new team, here's some new people. Does the gang, like, do they get along with them or no?
Come on, gang.
And I gotta admit, I missed Rebecca Ferguson so much. I did not take that death as seriously as I should have in that movie, because I thought it was gonna be one of those fake out, like.
Oh yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah. No, there's even a moment where they're like, "You have to trust me on this," and then I think Rebecca Ferguson says it. You're like, "Oh, okay," because she's like as capable of literally everything as Ethan Hunt is.
Yeah.
So you're like, "Oh, okay, so that's gonna go somewhere," and then no.
I think just to raise the stakes for sure.
Yeah.
And it definitely did.
Especially because I liked that character so much. I love they're really good at introducing new cast members, and then like Pom Clementif as I didn't know her name was Paris until this one, and then that
her name was Paris.
Yeah, and then that random ass guy that was like on the other guy's side with Shea Wiggum, and now he's like, I'm just with you guys now. Yeah, and
I was like, what is happening? But I'm like, I still like this guy, especially like later in the movie too.
Yeah,
I think it's just like his charisma as well.
No, he had a lot of. They're able to just make actors charming. By the way, there's a guy in this. He steals the 5 minutes he's in, but it's probably because I think he's such a great actor. From Severance is Tremel Tillman as the submarine captain. I did like I love him. And so whenever he shows up in this, you think he's going to be like I'm like the rest of the people. I'm going to be like, you can't do this, Ethan Hunt. Yeah. And then he's going to be like, you have to trust me. And then, but no, he was just like, I'm just like you, but on a boat. And you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And he's like, by the way, now you should get shirtless and run on the treadmill for like 4 hours.
Dude, it doesn't make sense. It did not make sense.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, it's just like, they're literally, hours before he starts running.
Yeah.
They're telling him, like, you're about to go deep underwater, and like your body's like nervous system is gonna like
increase his body temperature.
I think it was just him to like prepare himself.
Yeah.
Or something, but like it was just like, why are you doing that to your body, knowing that you're gonna have to be swimming, and basically like putting your body like you're just getting your body sore.
Yeah.
Before you're actually going underwater and you're just struggling even more.
Do you think he's like, this is what the entity would expect
me
like, not to do?
And he's like pretty much like naked.
Yeah. Wait, and then
he was wearing those shoes where it's just like the
feet.
He
was. I was like, I remember because he kicks that guy who was like, you are on the internet too much. Like, that's so random.
And then I'm like, why are you wearing those shoes?
I was so distracted by that too.
When you're a shoe guy?
No, because I mean I am, but I was like, oh, he's wearing those like weird old man gym shoes where they wear them and they remind me of frogs.
Yeah. Rainforest frogs.
Yeah, no, exactly. Do you like the Rainforest Cafe?
Yeah.
I love that place. But this it was so weird, and because like I was distracted by that too, but that stunt, I gotta say, I think it's just because I have a fear of being deeply submerged in water, drowning in tight spaces, and how the whole concept that he has to go into the submarine, and you're like, I mean, it's Mission Impossible, so there's gonna be something else that's like gonna be the additional thing, and it's that the submarine is tumbling off while it's happening. What did you think of that?
That was scary.
Yeah.
I think that stunt was insane. Also with the airplane, that one felt insane too. And then what was the other one? Shoot, what was it? Why am I blanking? I don't know if it was like the bomb as well, when they were trying to like disarm the bomb. Wherever they were kind of trying to like snatch the entity in the little thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's also scared because like, oh my god, is Simon Pegg gonna die?
Because Benji's like, they pull that joke where he's like, let's die, and they're like, oh, actually,
Dude, I would have been so sad if he died.
I genuinely think there's one small thing, just as a huge fan of these movies, I wish that I understand that Ving Rhames' character goes out in a certain way. I wish that it would have like held on it for a little bit longer.
It's like maybe if it was like something that happened at the latest movie.
Yeah.
But it just sucks because the way that this one starts off.
Yeah.
Not feeling, it just feels like a continuation of it, and it feels so rapid. Too.
Yeah, I have to agree on that, just because I thought that I told you I can't figure out if the first 20 minutes of this movie something's missing.
Yeah.
Or if they were like, we have to get the audience on board with the fact that this is a very frenetically paced movie, but then the first 20 minutes are, and then it calms down, and so you're kind of like, oh, so you end up feeling sort of scrambled. You're like, hang on, I need like a breather, and then they give you one, and then you're like, but wait, why did all that just happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because because there's a lot of Mission Impossible has the same sort of franchise tropes that you expect in an established franchise to have. Where, there's the mask. There's always like that Ethan Hunt has to go to a party or
gas
something.
Gas mask too.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
There's a really great joke about that where he's like, he turns himself in, and they're like, he pretended to be you, and you're like still letting him in here, and then it was like, this was all just a couple months ago. Yeah. I love the one. It's a reference to 4, I think, where they're like, he blew up the Kremlin. They're like, with all respect, that was to blow him up. It's like one of those weird, just like small moments of humor that's in these types of movies where that also reminds me of the sort of humor that's in like John Wick, where it's just like, but that's very physical. Yeah. Where they'll try and kill you. They're sorry, it's just business. But
I'm trying to think of my favorite one-liners from this one.
From this one?
Yeah, at least.
I think it's weird that, like, you said that this one's both more serious and goofy. I feel like it's simultaneously this most serious one, but then also kind of like...
It gets very comedic. But I think just because in moments where it just feels over the top, it doesn't take itself seriously during those times. And so whenever it starts happening, you're like, oh my god, like, this doesn't seem possible, but at the same time, like, I'm still enjoying this.
Well, it's not called Mission Difficult, Mr. Hunt. It's called Mission Impossible.
Dang. Whenever they're like, you're gonna ask this man to like save the world or something, it's like, only if he chooses to accept it.
I gotta be honest with you. No, every single time they're like, you think that one man, and you're like, this is more than one man. This is Ethan Hunt, and you're like, I mean, I guess so.
I think also, like, when you go later on with these movies, they casually try to, like, bring more about his past.
Yeah, which I really like. Since we haven't talked about Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
That one really clicks with me, like, a lot. There's so much great stuff in that one specifically. That's why I think, for me, it's the second best one. Because I love the explanation for why he's in the IMF. I didn't need it, but I was like, actually, you know what? I respect it. I love this idea that they work for them because otherwise they would have just been in prison forever. Yeah. And I love that backstory. I think that I'm gonna let you say this because I want you to talk about the villain, because I don't know what we have like separate takes on this. But
which one?
You said Morales. His name's Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel. Yeah.
But in that one, he is a bit more of an intimidating force. In this one, he's kind of
just because you didn't really know what he was there for.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like once you figure out like what he is, like who he was and everything, then he became a little bit more intimidating. But that's just because he felt like one step ahead and you didn't know why.
Yeah.
And that's how it was for a lot of that movie.
And there's this way he's introduced where it's like, haha, I got the briefcase thing.
Yes.
Like, it's really great in the airport. I love all that. And then Haley Atwell's introduced, and it's a really, really great... By the way, she's so good in these movies. I think that...
She's not in a lot of things, is she? Or is she mostly TV shows?
Not really, to be honest with you. And I feel like she has such a... I don't know, like, if you are able to act opposite of Tom Cruise and have just as much presence, you would think that you would be like...
I wonder if, like, she's just, like, very picky on what she chooses.
Maybe. Did you notice that in this one... she's genuinely given like the main other story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I mean, I'm just surprised that, I mean, because he's like, Ethan Hunt is very solo mission on this one, while the team goes off and does something else, and you're like, okay, we'll meet later.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
One thing, though, that I noticed, he tells her at the beginning of the movie, he's like, don't get on the ice.
Gets on the ice.
Almost immediately. And it was something that I found so distracting because I was like on the edge of my seat because like they pay attention to everything that they write in these movies. And so I was like, she did it immediately. I was like, she did it so fast.
I like that part though too where we don't get to see him being rescued from the ice.
Yeah.
And you just basically feel what he's going through.
Yeah.
Like being delusional and everything and just trying to recover for what happened to him.
Being delusional because he like falls in love with
Haley Atwell.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but
he's like, he has a type, by the way, because Michelle Monaghan, and Haley Atwell, and I'm missing one of them, but Rebecca Ferguson. They're all like brunette, and then like.
True.
I remember whenever Rebecca Ferguson and Michelle Monaghan meet in Fallout, you're like, and they're literally like, "Are you like?"
Huh.
I don't know. Just Ethan Hunt, and then I guess Vanessa Kirby's him going out of his like.
Yeah.
I thought she would be in this. I'm sad that she was in this.
I forgot that she was in what was it? Was it Rogue Nation? No.
She's in 5 and 6, I think.
Was it Fallout then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot that she was in that.
Yeah, she has that really great that train part is incredible.
Yeah.
Where they're like, and for some reason don't realize it's her for a while, even though she literally has a different eye color. It's an interesting thing to be able to pull off, but it's great. With this one though, I think that just in terms of the actual story itself, it's very much like... I'm just confused as to if this really is the final one, because they advertise it as such.
Yeah.
And then...
He's also like almost 70.
Yeah, he's 62, I think.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I mean, like, naturally, every time you talk about Tom Cruise, there's always like but you know, he's a Scientologist type thing.
He'll live forever.
And I think that the reason why he does these stunts is because he's like, I'm invincible. And
I need to have that mindset.
I'm
invincible.
There's this thing that happens in the third act of this movie with the plane that, of course, every time I see him do this, I'm like, Jesus. But it's when Gabriel's like fucking with him on the plane, and then he's like bouncing up and down. I don't know how they achieved that, to be entirely honest with you, but that's insane.
It made me laugh when Gabriel was saying like, "How are you gonna survive without a parachute?"
And he had one.
He had one, but like Gabriel just died right away, and I was like, that was goofy.
I thought that was on purpose. Like, I'll see you later, Ethan. And like immediately hits the thing.
And I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, there's a weird choice at the beginning of this movie. Also, whenever Ethan Hunt's kind of like, remember, it's just pain, and then whenever he kills that person, it's off screen.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing too, because I was just like, is it just because like they didn't want to like shoot that action sequence?
But I feel like they've shown stuff like that before.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, I'm pretty sure it's at the beginning of 5, where he's in the same situation where he's like captured, and he does. This is one of the most like, to me, this is more insane than him like jumping off a shit. He does this thing where he gets like upside down and then like jumps on the pole upwards.
Oh,
just like with pure core strength.
Yeah.
And then he essentially beats people the same way in that. And I was like, I've seen like this sort of scene in this franchise before though, so I wonder if they were just like, that's a time thing. This is a 3-hour movie. I don't know.
Or maybe just to showcase also, like the character Haley Atwell's in.
That's true.
Like just like how intense it can be.
Yeah, that she's kind of out of her depth because like I mean,
because even I think they said too, it's like you meddled in with like the wrong people type of thing.
I mean, you would think though that after like that whole thing with the train and the zero gravity, that she'd be like, that's fine. Yeah. Because like that's, I mean, probably just as stressful, right? But it's interesting. Like, I'm wondering if they're considering that we should consider this one movie or like if this is 2 separate movies. Because if it's one movie, then I mean, it's great. Yeah. But I want to know if you have any specific other negatives or positives.
Not any more negatives. I guess my positives would definitely be the fact that I started I don't know, the way they handle like having more people in their team is really impressive to me, just because like how much I would start caring. Like I didn't start caring more about like the other guy that was also in the first movie apparently, and he shows up.
Oh, the guy from like the guy, whenever he's like, you let me be happy, Ethan. And you're like, okay.
He's like, without you, if you didn't steal those files, I would have never met the love of my life. That guy. Yeah. And so I don't know why. Like I like both of them whenever they were introduced. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's just shocking to see that like how well Christopher McQuarrie makes like team movies work.
No,
so
he
well.
really does. I think that it's harder to do than you think because. In this one, I do think that it suffers a little bit, just a little bit, from how much they need to focus on what Ethan's doing. That I feel like Benji kind of gets the short end of the stick a little bit in this one. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's the one that, now that Ving Rhames' character is gone, he's the one that's been around the longest outside of Ethan, I believe. I gotta admit, I really miss Jeremy Renner's character.
Right? I was he was in Ghost Protocol. He was a little bit in Rogue Nation.
He was in that one for a while. He was like one of the main, he was like one of the main guys.
I gotta watch Rogue Nation again.
Rogue Nation's pretty great.
Yeah, I just forgot about that.
That's movie. One of the best ones. Also, it's top 3 or 4, and this one to me has that same sort of like if they were gonna tie so
the
much
Renner app.
If only there were some way to discuss Jeremy Renner's absence from this. Have you seen that?
Oh!
Every time somebody mentions Jeremy Renner, they're like, if only there was some way to discuss.
Let me pay $50 a month just to see what he's up to.
Do you know why that was taken down? It's because Disney had like a non-compete agreement within this contract that they're like, Jeremy, you can't have apps about yourself while you're profiting, while we own like.
We own you basically.
And then Jeremy Renner's like, did you guys know that I got in like a snowplow crash? Did you see that today? Where he was like, I met God or something like that.
He said that?
Sorta. He was like, I don't know, it was weird. I don't know. I don't want to like paraphrase it.
I mean, I agree with him saying like, what he said earlier about him getting less money than from season 1, not even as much.
Oh, Hawkeye?
Yeah. So I get that.
I think that's probably when he was like, I don't want to be doing this if I'm not going to be getting paid as much as I need to be. But he also went through this weird phase where they kept putting Jeremy Renner in things, and they're like, oh, don't worry, if the main guy retires, we have that guy. Oh, happened with Bourne. Happened with Mission Impossible. I guess I don't know. I guess he's just like was that guy for a while. Was that because Hurt Locker was like that important when that came out? Yeah, but it was great in Hawkeye. After that whole thing they talked about, I don't know if he's coming back though. If like they actually were gonna.
Okay, they make another Mission Impossible movie, but they bring back other characters that still survived. Yeah. From these other movies and bring them back for this latest one.
It'd be weird if they like made another one and they like they brought everybody back that wasn't in the most recent one. But it'd be funny if they just didn't bring the other people back. So like Palm Clemente, Haley Atwell, and the guy, the new guy.
Tom Cruise's ex-wife.
No, who's in 2? That's Tandy Newton. And, yeah. Huh. And then 3 is Yeah, they bring back
Michelle
Monaghan. It'd be so random. Rebecca Ferguson, please. Come on. There's always like, it turns out that actually I was like faking it, and then it was some other person that was wearing my mask, and you know.
Or like they casually missed it or something. Oh yeah. But I don't know.
And they're like,
I do like Rebecca Ferguson a lot.
Yeah, and in this franchise, they give her a lot to do.
Yeah. And well, that's what you said though. It's just like she makes it where she's able to compete with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But like, I also like the first, or like not first one, Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Because the way that I think I like the action sequences more in Dead Reckoning than this one.
Yeah.
In particular, just because a lot of it was just very clever stunts. Because the one where they were Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise were just driving around.
So amazing.
It was so good, and I love the fact that they were both tied with the handcuffs. Yeah. And they're trying to manage through all that. Like that was so clever.
There's something very. They talk about it with John Wick. There's like a very kind of like Charlie Chaplin type energy to some of the stuff that Tom Cruise wants to do within action movies, and then they're like tumbling down on like and then the car they have to pick and everything. I agree with you. I think that while technically speaking, maybe the actual stunts themselves and the action scenes in this one that are the stunts are more impressive from like a technical aspect, especially the underwater one. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think that for me personally, just tapping into...
It's just like, I'm scared of heights and water. This guy doesn't take showers.
No. Yes, I do.
You scared of water, though.
That's not how that works. I get told I smell good a lot.
By who? No, I don't want to hear about it.
Okay.
You can smell musty. I don't care.
I hope I don't. No, it's one of those things where like you're like gripping the seat during any of the action scenes.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about like swimming or or heights or something.
You grip anything, you'd like fall over and die. But no, you know what other one is impressive to me because it's terrifying is Mission Impossible 2 when he's like rock climbing for no reason.
Oh, dude, rock climbing is scary.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
He's just hanging off the edge of nothing.
Yeah.
But I just think that like especially I heard that in the IMAX version of this that whenever he twists the vault to go out in the submarine. Oh. That while he twists it, the IMAX ratio thing expands and then it goes out. And I saw Sinners recently in the IMAX thing, and that did that during the scene in Sinners, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen that in this review. Yeah. But
you can spoil it.
I mean, I don't want to.
Just spoil it.
No, it's a different.
Guys,
movie.
it's gonna spoil in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm not gonna do that. But
can you spoil it?
No.
Why not?
Because maybe.
But I want to know.
The dancing scene. That's what I'll say. But
okay. Hey, I did see that.
Yeah, I know. But
why didn't you just say that? Okay.
Also,
I guess this mission was impossible.
Getting you to let me, yeah. But I also love the design for the suit itself. Apparently, like, a lot went into actually designing that so he could withstand. Because Tom Cruise did this for real. Like, he went down into the depths of. He's like, "Oh, we have to do this."
Although, dude, I can't. The director, like, Tom Cruise, please.
I know how
There's a chance you'll die.
You're like, dude. You're like, can we at least do this 20 feet? And he's probably like, no. Yeah, with his like insane eyes that he has. He's like, I love my popcorn. And you're like,
I love my popcorn.
You can tell.
He's just passionate.
Whenever, because he's co-producer on these, right? I want to know who comes up with the stunt ideas, because he's like, I wonder if he watches stuff and he's like, I could do that, and then like actually goes out and does it.
Dude, that's so scary. I can't imagine. I can't imagine just being like the insurance.
That's what everybody talks about. That, but I'm like, who insures Tom Cruise? Is probably like
I want to know.
My number one question.
Yes,
because they're like, hey Tom Cruise, what are you up to? Like, oh, making the new Mission Impossible. Like, fuck.
Not again. I thought it would be the next couple of years.
And then just the other day, he was like, oh, don't worry, we've got Top Gun 3 down. And you're like, oh, great.
What is he gonna do now?
I don't know. Hang up outside of a plane again. He does that a lot.
How? They're going super speed.
Oh, yeah. He's like, what if I'm like falling out?
Oh my god. And it's a reference to Mission Impossible Fallout.
Because he's falling. Nice, I like that. But honestly,
do you have any other like negatives?
Not really. Yeah. I love this franchise so much. I think that if this is it, I'm fine with that.
I think it'd be a good, like, one of those ones where you can recommend to someone, like, this is a good franchise overall.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, and it definitely gets better.
They absolutely get better.
Yeah.
The first... I can see running into an issue, though, where somebody's like, hey, what the fuck is going on with, like, the first two?
Oh, yeah.
Because...
Or even the first three, just, like, the way it's shot. Like, it's just so...
Three pivots into that, like, you can tell that Jason Bourne was popular at the time, is what I'll say. It has the best villain, if we're not counting Henry Cavill as a villain, but it has the best villain with Philip Seymour Hoffman in it for sure. And it also has Aaron Paul in the movie. But,
Aaron Paul's in it?
Uh-huh.
When?
At the beginning.
I don't remember.
He's like, yo, Ethan, at the party.
Ethan's just everywhere.
Yeah, this is back when he's like retired and he has a wife and everything. But I think that while this one, it's a little slower, especially compared to how 4, 5, 6, 7 all play out. Mm-hmm. It definitely feels weighty, like it feels like a finale to something. Maybe that's also because it's a 2-parter.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, would you want another one of these if they were like, actually, we're not done?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no.
The only thing I would ask for them to do is either set up something that's not so... I love the idea of the entity. I do kind of wish...
That was so massive.
Yeah.
That I think the reason why I just also don't think there would be another sequel, just because I feel that the entity itself is such a big problem.
Yeah.
And then, like, how is that not like the big so-called villain
for
anymore?
Me, I think the whole paranoia that happens in part 1 is a bit more effective than in this one, because they don't trust their own gadgets. They don't trust like anything that they're around. I think that is so smart that it's like this all-encompassing thing that can turn on you essentially at any point.
Yeah.
And I missed that sort of presence of it in this one. You get it whenever he goes into the weird like thing where it's like it's gonna change you, and then
that was so cool.
Yeah, I love that. I just wish that it was still around more. It's such a big deal in part 1.
Yeah.
And then in part 2, like, it's there, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But then it's so much more like back and forth. Like, we got to find this festival thing in the submarine, which is tying back to the beginning of part 1.
Yeah.
But I love all that, don't get me wrong. But I just think that if going forward, maybe not something so massive, because you're going to have to, like, do a lot of heavy lifting in order to convey a threat that big, I think. But honestly, that's not even really a negative. That's just something where I'm like, I think it's just the circumstances of it being a part 1, part 2 type situation.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I love this movie a lot. And what's your score? And what'd you think?
4.5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, overall, like, I also love this movie as well.
Yeah.
I do think that I prefer the latest one over this one, but I think it concluded like the franchise
pretty well. Yeah.
Pretty well.
Where does it rank for you in terms
one?
of the overall series?
Fallout, Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Uh-huh.
Then probably, I don't know, maybe either Ghost Protocol or Final Reckoning.
Okay.
So it probably like 3 or 4.
You don't remember Rogue Nation, huh?
Dude, I forgot about Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation's there. Wait. So Rogue Nation would be after. Okay. Fallout, Dead Reckoning Part 1. What did I put?
I like how you and I are the same top 2. I don't know. I can tell you what I did for number 3 and 4. They're kind of tied for me. 3 and 4, I cannot figure out if it's this one or Rogue Nation.
Dude, I forgot about Rogue Nation.
I love that movie.
The movie came out 2015. That's like 10 years.
That has that one where the Rebecca Ferguson like builds like the flute thing or something, and then
it's a sniper.
It's like on the and it's on the opera thing, and then he's fighting him while being quiet. It's so good. Do you know?
Okay, Rogue Nation.
Which one's that at?
I think that's my 3rd.
Okay.
And then after that, I think it's either Final Reckoning, and then maybe Ghost Protocol after.
I think it says a lot that for me that these are all in like the 4.5 and 5 out of 5 territory, because I think that I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5, by the way.
Yeah.
I gave the previous one 5 out of 5. I just want to clarify that, and I gave Fallout a 5 out of 5, and then I think Rogue Nation was either 4.5 or a 5. But this one to me and Rogue Nation are around the same level of quality. But yeah. overall,
I can't wait to see Tom Cruise do more things. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't wait.
The way he says, "I want to do action movies till I'm 100," I'm like, I hope so because I want to see that.
Have no idea.
Did you see the Naked Gun trailer?
Yeah,
it looks good.
I'd already seen that, but I was like, I keep forgetting what it is every single time.
Same. I've seen it like 4 times.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, what is this little girl going into this bank for?
And then that OJ joke is very funny. But
yeah.
By the way, I just want to say that I had the opposite of a negative experience that I usually complain about during like movie theaters. The guy next to me was like so like. I know that it's a whole meme when people do this where they're like they lean in, but I went to Cinemark for this because Tom Cruise kept saying, "I want you guys to see this with popcorn." So I was like, I have to. So I don't like Alamo Drafthouse's popcorn, so I went to this one, and I was like, oh hell yeah! And then they have recliner seats, and this guy, like every single time something like Tom Cruise-y would happen, he like would close the recliner seat, get up, and then lean forward like this.
Classic dad move.
Yeah, and throughout the entire submarine sequence, he was just like,
"Dude, I get it." The way I was like,
"No, me, I'm like." That's kind of. Well, you're like, whoa.
Like, oh my god.
Overall, I love this movie a lot. I love this franchise a lot. Like
it's great.
Yeah. The music, anytime you hear it, cue. Anytime there's like a 30-minute opening and then it's the
title sequence.
Yeah, you're like, fuck yeah, every time.
Oh, I always forget that it shows the
whole movie.
And I'm like, oh.
You're like, why would? All right.
I was like, okay.
It'd be funny if it was just. What if like, one of these
spoils?
What if one of these has a massive twist at some point though, and then it's like.
But it happens so fast.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
That's true.
I like that.
That's like an anime opening. Yeah. It's like here's everything that's gonna happen.
Dude, and the intro's so good. The song.
Yeah, you're like, they should do that. They should like add some of. Imagine like Attack on Titan intro or something. But the overall, no. What did you guys think of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? I keep having to say that final part slowly because I always think it's Dead Reckoning Part 2. Yeah. Or Dead Reckoning. But no, this was really great. I know that some people are not mixed on it. I've heard some people that think it's good but not great because a lot of people think that the first hour is slow, or they think it doesn't compare, or they don't like the fan servicey part of tying it back to the first one. Yeah, I thought it was clever enough that I didn't mind it. And
I think just because we're so used to just having each Mission Impossible movie having its like just feeling like its own.
Yeah.
And so like these last two were just like one coherent movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was just split. I think
that's fair. I mean, the only time I think it never really made sense is that in Mission Impossible 2, Ethan Hunt does not act like Ethan Hunt. He acts like, I don't know, or like a suave guy with really long hair, because that's how Ethan Hunt is.
I get it.
Yeah. I get it. And he has very long hair in that movie. But overall, again, what'd you guys think? What are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Erwin, what's up next?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what is up next?
What?
Okay, I've seen Friendship already. We'll review that.
Yeah, we'll review Friendship.
Karate Kid Legends.
Karate Kid already?
Yeah, it comes out this Friday.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm very excited for this. It's called Bring Her Back. And
why does that sound familiar?
It's the Talk to Me People's movie.
Oh, I'm hearing good things about it.
It's this week.
That's okay.
We're going to get that to you when we get that to you. I promise. Probably going to be a little busy coming up soon. Yes. But again, stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will see you next time.